What's up? This is my Denon MC6000MK2. So I'm having a problem with the fader bleeding. It's only been about a year and a half tops, and the fader is bleeding. So just to demonstrate, left channel is on, right channel starting to play. Just a little bit of shaking. No good. No good at all. It also bleeds on the other side. All the way to the right. Left channel on. That one's really bad. So, just so you get an idea of what's what, the slope is set to gradual. Both channel 1 and channel 3 are assigned to left. Both channel 2 and 4 are assigned to right, as they should. And this is what we get. So, rather than get one of Denon's replacement faders and put in there, I have opted for an InnoFader Plus. If you have a Denon MC6000 or 6000 Mark II, I believe it'll work for both, and you want to put an InnoFader in, you need the InnoFader Plus, the mini InnoFader Plus. It's by Audio Innovate. It's a really good company, really responsive folks over there. You can email, you can actually call and speak to somebody. The head guy over there, his name is Elliot, nice guy. Had a chance to speak with him before when I worked for Scratchworks, which is now DJ Works. Mark also, awesome guy. Anyway, I searched all over YouTube looking for somebody who's taken this controller apart so that make my job easier. And I've seen a couple people take apart the first generation one, but not the second generation. And more importantly, no one has replaced the fader with a mini InnoFader Plus. So that's what I'm going to do. Basically, if you are planning on doing this, hopefully this will help you out, and we'll see. So first thing I decided to do, I've got a magnetic parts tray that I'll be putting my screws in. It's also got dry erase so I can mark what goes where. Basically, you will need a screwdriver and some Phillips bits. Actually don't recommend using a power screwdriver just because of torque and stripping and stuff like that. You can probably turn the torque down, but even though there are a lot of screws and a lot of different kinds of screws, so that's what I'm using. Normal plain Jane screwdriver, changing out the bits. There are a couple different sizes, but it seems like you can use one Phillips if you find the right one, and it will fit everything. There might be one or two flathead screws in there, but you know, we'll see once we get in there. Anyway, this is the mini InnoFader Plus, and gonna put that in here. Wish me luck. Alright, we are back. I partially assembled the controller because once the fader is physically installed, you have to check the calibration. And you have to check the calibration before you put it back together, because in order to calibrate it, there's a small button under the bottom that you have to press in conjunction with some back and forth fader movement and everything. So this calibration includes the settings for the calibration includes the polarity in case you have to put it in one way versus another. You can set it to reverse if you have some kind of physical limitation about the directionality of your installation. One of the other settings is for the curve, so that would be how much volume drop off you get when you slide from one side to the other. For non-turntablist devices or people, this might not be as much of a concern, but basically you have three settings. You have the cut in, that's the amount of space that you get before the sound comes in. You have the curve, and you have the polarity. So out of the box, more often than not, it will be calibrated straight across the board, which for the overwhelming majority of people should be fine. But you know, you never know. It's supposed to be, the default are supposed to be all normal values. A straight line, 0 cut in, I believe, and the polarity is set so that with the fader mounted with the A+ brand facing you, left is left and right is right. So I'm going to turn this bad boy on, go through our startup procedure. I've got some tracks loaded. Alright, so my volume faders are down. I'm going to try out the left side first. Turn up the fader here, I'll make sure we got my volume. Alright, left side first. Looks good. I'll try the right side. Right side's up, fading to the right. Alright, so that looks good. The other thing you want to check is make sure that there's no bleeding. So again, I have the same two tracks playing. I'm on the right side. I'm going to turn up the left channel. And a good way to test this is to turn your gains all the way up. Turn your master volume all the way up. Make sure you're holding the fader to the right. Give it a tap, shake it a little bit. Make sure you hear nothing. Another thing that you can do is turn your slope so that it has a drastic cut. So even the slightest bit of left channel, the slightest bit of fader movement will cut your left channel in. So I already have everything as loud as it will go. So it's going to be really loud. I'm going to cut in really quick and drop it back out. Alright, redlined everything so we know we're good. I am going to do the same thing with the other side. So I'm going to turn down my left channel. I'm going to fade to the left. Turn up my right channel. Give it a shake. The volumes are already loud as they'll go. Now I'm going to cut in very quickly and back out. Alright, redlined. So that's good. I'm going to turn my volumes back down, turn down my gain. I'm going to put the gain at something. I don't have the panel on, so I don't have any lines. So I'm just going to line up the stems so that they're alright. So I'm going to turn my volume down and then turn it up a little bit. Alright, so now I'm in the middle. Increase volume. Match my levels. Alright, I think we're set. So now I am going to reassemble the controller. Obviously, first thing we want to do is turn off the power, and this is where having everything on a parts tray will help you out. Got all my stuff labeled how and where so that I can put it back together easily. Again, I had to partially assemble it so that the boards underneath were not flopping around. So I'm going to take those screws back and put them where I got them from, and then reassemble the controller and give it a final test. So, pardon me as I do that. And these are bottom case screws. Put those there. Should loosen up this. This is from the XLR board. It's the only one. Alright, so now I think we're ready to put this bad boy back together. First thing, now that these boards are loose again, we'll be able to put the top on. So, here's the top. Should look familiar to everybody. Now remember, the boards are loose because of the RCAs and the mic EQ pots sticking out. We have to push them in a little bit in order to make the top case fit again. So I recommend giving it some support at the bottom because you don't want those boards flopping about. Okay, so now we're on the top. I'm going to push these in so that the top case will fit back in its place. I have to push them in on the back as well. And it only fits one way, so it's very helpful that it's asymmetrical. And once it's in, you will know, you'll be able to feel it. And once it's in, I'm going to use this. It's probably a good idea to flip it over and support it with something. Or maybe not. See, without it, it's going to drop in, but anyway, maybe we could use a little support on this side. Alright, so now, you're going to take your mic EQ board. I don't know what this is actually called, but these are the mic EQs, mid, low, high, in addition to your fader slope and some other switches. I want to make sure that those things are sticking through good, because if they are not, your alignment is thrown off, and you need to be able to access these switches with just a touch of your finger. You shouldn't have to stick anything in there to get to them. And theoretically, if the screw holes line up, then you know you're good. Same thing on the back end. Make sure that your power button sticks through. Make sure that your XLRs stick through their assigned location, and all that. Alright, so that being said, the mic EQ board, I have this labeled. I'll probably take a picture of that. It says 2 and 4, so there's one here and one here. So I'm looking for position number 2. Alright, let's take a look at that. Screws stick through well. Alright, that is not sticking through as well as I thought it would. Alright. Looking good, looking good. Alright, put this here. Put these guys back on.
Thank you.